Spotify playlist?
Oh God, no, that's embarrassing. I always love coming back home. Like, my brother and I have a joke that when you get off the plane, like the humidity like wraps you in a blanket, and that feeling we always know, like, oh, we're here. And then you walk into the airport and it's like a smack in the face of air conditioning and like the smell of beside us like Cuban coffee, and yeah. So I love coming home. It's where I grew up. Yeah. No, because I know it's a particular skill, and also I haven't been able to find it, like the right coffee, and then I like getting it somewhere because I think it's part of the ritual, like going somewhere, sitting down, getting your little cafecito, and like chilling. So I went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale. I played soccer, I played football for a couple of years, and I was very heavily involved in the theater program. I was actually president of the Thespian Society, and yeah, I did a lot of the shows there too. It was a lot of fun. Yes, I think in high school is when it started to become a more serious option. Like I started to think of it as a career, and it was the things I was getting to do in high school in tandem with the things I was doing outside of school that were all related to theater. Like I went to, and I did a lot of shows at Fort Lauderdale Children's Theater, and I think they're incredible, and the teachers I met there and the teacher I had in high school really mentored me and were able to kind of make me see that this isn't just a hobby. It could be not only a viable career, but also a very important one, where you can talk about important things and educate people, like on Chicago Fire, educate people about what firefighters do. It's cool. I like that he's the type of guy that will sacrifice life and limb to help someone. And that's something that I've gotten to see in like another character I've played, and that's something I think is very admirable, that ability to be selfless. And because of that, Blake does get himself into some sticky situations, and that's always really fun to see. Yeah, I think we're both extremely passionate about our craft. Like, he's a very passionate firefighter, and he loves being there, he loves putting the uniform on, and he loves all the little things too, which I think is really cool. And then I feel the same way about acting and that craft as well. I really enjoy the athleticism that it requires to be an actor sometimes, and the things you get to do, like doing your own stunts. Like for Old Spice, I got to do my own stunts for Never Let a Friend Lose His Swagger, which is really cool. And then because of that and the experience I've had on Shadowhunters as well, I'm getting to do most of my own stunts when they're safe on Chicago Fire, and that athleticism needed to be a firefighter is something that I think Blake Gallo really enjoys as well. I don't know, because I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal those yet. But I can say that Shadowhunters, I got to do some really cool fight scenes and the beginnings of wire work. And then, actually the Old Spice was pretty cool because I was in a wire and I actually had to be brought across an entire rig while like carrying someone else and holding the product. And it was just like it was a really cool day in this giant studio with a blue screen. And that was actually really awesome. I'm a testicular cancer survivor. So through the platform that I've received from Shadowhunters and other things, I'm able to kind of bring that awareness to testicular cancer and kind of, I think, break down the wall that make it seem so scary. It can be, but it also can be just a quick thing if you take the proper steps and proper precautions to kind of self-check. And then if something is ever out of order, just go to the doctor and get it looked at if you can. And that will just ease all tension. Or maybe if it is a problem, you can take care of it. And then I also really care about reading. I actually have a book club that I think the world would be a little bit better if people read more books. It's on Instagram. It's called Rosende Reads. And essentially, I'll go on an Instagram Live and they'll say, hey guys, so this is the book we're reading right now. This is the next book, and this is the book after it. So if you want to get those to prepare. This week we're reading to page 110 or chapter 15 of Anne of Green Gables. So it's your job to get that done. And then on Sunday, I'll go on Instagram Live, and then it becomes a conversation where we talk about, I'll say a little bit history about the writer, the setting of the book, which is Prince Edward Island, and then we just start to talk. I start to say what I think, and then I read comments out loud, and then if someone wants, like, and it becomes very interactive, and it's about an hour long, and yeah, we read about 100 pages a week. Our next book is The Great Gatsby, and the book after that is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, because we read The Handmaid's Tale last year, The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. It changes a lot. I love Kurt Vonnegut. I love the way he writes and the way he sees the world, and I've read a few of his books. We've actually read 2 in the book club, and then we read 1984 in the book club, and that book was, I loved that book. I mean, I think right now that book holds the spot of favorite book, but I think that can change. I know that for Shadowhunters specifically, because Simon was a musician, I wanted to find out a little bit more about the music he listened to, so I can kind of see what his vibe was, like maybe what musicians he aspired to kind of dress like, or feel like what they were talking about, maybe what would influence his own music. And in the books, actually, there's a reference to a band that I was actually listening to in college with friends. So I was like, oh, okay, so he started there, so he probably listens to this, and then I know he listens to this, and then because of that, you can kind of see what his influence was, and so that helps with Simon. With Blake, I haven't done that yet, so that's kind of exciting that I still get to do that, to kind of get deeper into. I'm actually really excited to be home right now. Old Spice, I'm here with Old Spice. They brought me down to kind of talk about their new campaign, Never Let a Friend Lose His Swagger. A campaign that's really focused on reminding guys that guy time and hanging out with your friends is really important. And although you have other priorities like work and family and life, like your friendships are what carry you, and you can't forget them. And you can never let your friends lose their swagger and forget those priorities as well. Yeah, I'm pretty good friends with Isaiah Mustafa. We worked together on Shadowhunters. He played my father figure, Luke Garraway, who's actually, I don't want to spoil anything, but he's a werewolf. And on set, he was someone I often turned to ask questions about the industry, life, and whatnot. And he was always there for me to kind of give some wisdom, but or lend an ear. He's a great dude, and I'm happy to call him a friend. When Old Spice was a possibility, I did talk to him. I was like, hey, any advice? I'm going to talk to them today. And he was like, just be yourself, just be cool. And I think they'll love you, dude. Don't worry about it. And then when I got to work with Old Spice, and especially with this new campaign for Swagger, he was pretty stoked. He's like, welcome to the family, man. So very cool.